So trying to prepare for an entrance exam in which there is no pre-reading material or you have no clue about the exam can actually be a hassle. But no worries, in this video I'll be sharing with you information on how you can effectively prepare and pass the University of Applied Science entrance exam in this year 2026. Hey guys, so from the topic of the video, it's how you can actually prepare and pass the University of Applied Science entrance exam in Finland that is coming up in the month of March. So first off, you need to understand that the University of Applied Science entrance exam is the best entrance exam in Finland. It's an exam that is being conducted by most universities in Finland, and this exam is geared towards students who are coming for the program that are taught in the English language. And this exam is a digital based exam, so in order for you to be able to take this exam, you can do it from the comfort of your home. However, the fact that you are doing it from the comfort of your home, they have strict rules, and one of it is that you have to use a specific website or system. And in this app, whenever you are using the exam, whenever you log into this app to take the exam, every other thing on your computer goes off, like you're unable to actually access it except this program. And the duration of this exam is between 1.5 hours to 2 hours depending on various reasons. So prior to the date where you are actually going to take the exam, you need to be able to log into the system to make sure that everything, your internet connection is good and every other thing, and as well to also identify yourself, because this exam requires you to identify yourself either with your passport or a residence permit depending on where you're applying from. So yes, let's say about a week before the exam, you receive an email, so you have to be actually connected to your email. Like I said in my previous video, you have to make sure that you receive that email that tells you or gives you the link to the website or to the app that you are going to use to log in, and then make sure that everything is okay. So on the day of the exam, you do not have to start struggling to log in and everything. And one other very important thing is that you have to make sure that you remember the code that you submitted during your application. So you might ask yourself, why the reason for this exam? This exam is to test your readiness for study in the University of Applied Science in Finland, so that you don't come to school or you don't move to Finland and then you find it difficult to study. So this exam is just to make sure that everyone who is taking this exam or who is coming and who has applied to study actually has the full competence to be able to study with ease. Next up, we will look at the structure of the exam. Yes, this is very, very important, because before you take any exam, it's good to be prepared on how the exam looks like. So firstly, this exam, the duration of this exam is between 1.5 hours to 2 hours, depending on various reasons. It could be the type of course you are taking. So maybe they would need a longer time to process or for you to take the exams. Generally, this exam is divided into 3 main parts. That is, firstly, the English language section, which you will find in the reading comprehension, reading listening or reading comprehension, and also a little bit of writing. For example, how you can prepare with this. Of course, there's no pre-reading material, but how you can prepare for this exam, I'm going to leave in the link in the description box below a link to a website where you can be able to get acquainted with sample questions for this exam. So for example, if you want to also prepare for the English language section, you can get into looking at materials for example, this other English language test. For example, you look into IELTS or TOEFL preparatory materials or sample questions. So those are materials that can also be able to help you to adequately prepare for this exam. Secondly, we have the mathematical part, which of course is very important for every person to know at least basic mathematics. So depending also on the course you are applying for, you will either be faced with basic mathematical questions or a little bit advanced. Say for example, if you are taking so for the mathematical session, usually the questions are not very, very difficult. You have things to do with algebra or graphs and percentages. Algebra, graphs, or even percentages. However, if you are going in for a more complicated course, let's say for example engineering, definitely the mathematical questions that you might face may a little bit more advanced. So it's good for you to prepare as well, and if possible, check the website of the schools that you are applying to. They might have other additional information that would help you in the preparation for this exam. The third section of the exam has to do with reasoning and logical questions. The logical reasoning part of the exam, just as its name, tests the way you think. And you can be able to practice with this, you can be able to prepare for this section of the exam by practicing number patterns, simple graphs, and puzzles. So of course, if you are someone who has already been used to, putting puzzles or solving puzzles, this will actually be an easy part of the exam for you. One of the other things you want to bear in mind when preparing for this exam is also make sure to practice using a timer, because of course the exam will be timed, and immediately you start on the exam, the timer is going to start ticking or can count, or the timer is going to start counting down. So you want to make sure that you also, during your preparation for the exam, you are also being timed, so that you'll be able to evaluate effectively how fast you can be able to finish the exam, or if you are able, or if you are ready to prepare for the exam and complete it within the set time. So to wrap up with everything that I've said in this video is that make sure to understand that this exam is a joint digital exam, and everybody or every student who is applying to study in an English program in Finland has to take this exam, and the duration is between 1 to 2 hours. Yeah. So the exam is not very difficult. However, you should make sure to prepare adequately, because you never know what kind of questions will be coming or what you face. But like it is said, proper preparation prevents poor performance. So you want to be on the safe side. Take time as from now to start preparing adequately for your exam. And make sure that whenever you receive the link for you to test on your system, you receive that link and you do what you need to do. Make sure that your system, your internet, your computer, or your desktop, whichever thing that you are using to prepare or to write the exam, it's in good shape and condition before the actual date of the exam. And also, when the actual date of the exam comes, you want to make sure that you are well relaxed and rested, and come open your laptop before time, and as well just relax and probably take some tea and just sit there and wait for the time for you to start your exam. Make sure to avoid all forms of pressure, and yeah, that's it. And like I said, the exam is not very difficult. So you just have the three sections that I mentioned earlier. Prepare adequately for it. If you have additional questions or additional doubts of how to tackle certain things, make sure to clarify that before the examination date. Yeah. So I hope you learned something from this video. Please make sure to like, share, and comment also below if you have more questions with regards to preparing to the entrance exam or something completely different concerning studies or film. Ask questions if you have any, or if you desire for me to make videos concerning another topic, please do so. So write it down, and I'll see you in my next video. Moika.